Can the Chargers run 14 personnel? Is that possible?
The Chargers can score in the red zone.
They thought it was luck. I call it preparation in disguise.
Hold up. It's the Chargers squad. Everything Los Angeles Chargers every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Chargers Squad Show, starting now.
What is up? Hello and welcome to the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007. Kenyon Barner is here as usual. 3 rings, 10 years in the league, and David Droegemeire, one half of the daily Locked On Chargers podcast. Well, that was a win. It was ugly at times, but a win is a win is a win. And at the end of the day, it was a fun game, right? And it's which kind of what I expected from two teams that are not locked in, to say the least. So we look at this game and say, what are the bright spots? Kenyon, we look and think Kamani Vidal had a hell of a game running the ball. 18 carries, 124 yards, 1 touchdown in the air. What's your read on his performance today?
Absolutely loved it. And it was needed. Without his performance, the Chargers aren't really in this game at all whatsoever. So he stepped up in big time moments, made big time plays, and really made a name for himself within this organization and amongst this fan base. We've seen him in the preseason. We know what he brings to the table. Hard-nosed running, physical north and south. But for me, we finally got to see him open up. We finally got to see him really get going. And this is the thing about a running back in the NFL, right? When you're a backup, it's all about getting spots. So I get in here, I get in there. I never get the opportunity to fully develop a rhythm. And what we've seen from Kamani Vidal is what he is and what he's capable of when you allow this guy to get into a rhythm. So I am hats off. You know, you made a comparison to Austin Eckler. I'm not mad at it.
Hey, David Dillon says, Kamani Vidal, that's your boy.
Yeah, no, it was an awesome performance from Kamani Vidal. It was I really loved the fact that he was able to hit to the outside and also break off tackles and be able to get extra yards. Like he was ripping off big gains. I mean, 7, 8, 19, 20, 25 plus yard runs. Like it was a very, very complete performance from him. Also, obviously caught that ball as a receiver for a touchdown as well, with Justin Herbert kind of rolling out to his right. Kamani Vidal had a complete performance in this game. The Chargers desperately needed it. And honestly, if you weren't going to do it against this Miami Dolphins run defense, you weren't going to do it against anyone, because they are horrible. And thankfully, the Chargers and Kamani Vidal were able to capitalize.
Yeah. Early on, I was frustrated because they, against, as you pointed out, 31st or 32nd, they're the worst run defense in the league. Against third down, they're a little bit better. The Chargers really struggled on third down, 1 of 7 in the first half. Unfortunately, in the second half, we could kind of throw out the first half, I think, to a certain extent, and just talk about the second half. At least on third down, much better. The line was better. Everything was better. And we started this game just kind of going, here we go again. This line can't do anything. Hart with the false starts, and they couldn't get out of their own way. They couldn't give Justin Herbert any time. But fortunately, they did. They figured out a way, and they did it a lot with 13 personnel. Now, that's rare, right, KB? We don't see 13 personnel very much. That's why I suggested maybe we need 14 personnel with 4 tight ends on the field.
No, it is rare. You typically see 13 down by the goal line, right? But when you are an offense that is struggling when it comes to protecting the quarterback, you have to do what you have to do. Whether it's this is how you negate a rush, right, or a blitz, either with a quick game, 3-step drop, getting the ball out of your hands as fast as you can, or you keep the entire offense in and allow 2 guys or 3 guys to go to work and hopefully somebody gets open. And so this game for me with this offense was about Greg Roman's ability to adapt and adjust, right? I know what we don't have. It's not about what we have coming back, but it's what can we do with what we have? And I think he maximized each and every player, each and every spot on his field this game with being able to protect Herbert.
Yeah, David, one of the things that was interesting to me early on, and it was funny because late in the game, Tua was doing it, the quick drop, find a guy open. Early in the game, Herbert was doing it, and I liked that as well because he doesn't have a lot of time. So you don't have a lot of time. You work with what you got and get rid of the ball quick. And he was doing that early. Later in the game, they gave him a little bit more time, and he was able to scramble around, especially on that final drive with 40-some seconds on the clock. He gets down, finds Ladd, who just stops on his dime.
I like that.
And busted off a nice chunk there to set up the game-winning field goal. But credit to Herbert there for just, working with what he had, right?
100%. Yeah, I think they did a great job with the tight ends just acting as extra offensive linemen because they were on their 5th and 6th, tackles out there. They had to help those guys out schematically like that. And I think in the second half is where I primarily noticed them going to the quick game, where they were able to find a lot more success. They were able to stay ahead of the sticks. They were able to stay in third and manageable, and they were kind of able to negate the Miami pass rush, which they were getting home a little bit more frequently in the first half. So I think Greg Roman did a great job of adjusting, going to that quick passing game in the second half, which allowed Justin Herbert to get in rhythm, and then you saw him really be able to play to his full potential.
Yeah, he definitely, was scrambling at times for his life. I mean, they were up in his business quite a bit in there in the first half, and that's tough. But it got a little bit better, so you can give them credit for getting it done. And yeah, they needed this win, as some of the people are saying in the chat. I gotta say, Damien or somebody is already on to next week. No way we beat the Colts. Can we just enjoy this, please?
Dang.
This is a win. This is a win. It was a nice win. It was an exciting win. There was a lot of positives here. I mean,
they probably haven't even taken their jerseys off yet, and you're already talking about next week. Calm down with that. Let's enjoy this win. This is a big win. The Chargers are still now atop of the AFC West, and this is a game they absolutely had to have. You should enjoy it, and you better believe, Kenyon, it's about to be a happy flight back to LA.
Happy play.
Absolutely. But David, you said something. This was a must win in my. I was thinking that after the last game last week and going into this week, and as I'm looking at their schedule, I'm like, this does not get any easier after this game. So if you don't win this game, now you risk going on a 3, 4, 5 game skid, especially once you get into the divisional play, right? It doesn't get any easier. So to your point, this was absolutely a must-have to keep us afloat.
And also, you could possibly be getting Joe Alt and Khalil Mack back very, very soon. So you're kind of staying afloat while you wait for some reinforcements to come back and help you out.
Yeah, great start to the third quarter, second half. That drive that ended in a Ladd McConkey 5-yard touchdown from Herbert. 13 plays, 72 yards, 7 minutes and 34 seconds off the clock. It gave the Chargers a 16-13 lead, and I thought that was huge because they backed it up with another touchdown, Kamani Vidal, which was a quick one, 4 plays, 37 yards, but they scored back-to-back times there in the third quarter to grab a 10-point lead. And then the play in the fourth quarter that ended in a field goal was 4:34. So that's a big chunk of time right there that they took off the clock, almost an entire quarter, which I thought really put them in a great position to win this game comfortably. It didn't turn out to be that way, but the fact was those were 2 very, very competent drives, Kenyon, especially the 7-minute one to start the third quarter. You had to have that.
I think that 7-minute drive really set up the remainder of the game for the run game. Because when you look at how this team was able to run the ball going late into the third, late or into the fourth, they kind of took it to this Miami defensive front. You look at how Kamani Vidal was able to get through the middle, get to the outside. This defensive front looked tired to me, and I think that 7-minute drive played a large role in that. That kind of it defeats you as a defense. It drains you not only physically but mentally. We've been on this field for 7 minutes. That is a long time in football to not really get a break and to consistently be moved up and down the field. So those 2 drives really set up the remainder of this game and kind of set the tone for this Chargers offense.
Not only that, that second drive, the reason why it was so short is because it was a turnover. And that's very, very important because not only did they get that turnover, they absolutely made that turnover hurt by scoring a touchdown off of that turnover. And that's what you absolutely have to do if you want to win these type of games. Turnovers are great. They can be plays that change the momentum of the game. But if you really want to put your stamp on it, you got to score a touchdown off of it. And they were able to do that. And that was a big, big play in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I like that they rebounded off of turnovers, and they kept giving the ball to Gadsden after he made that huge fumble in the first half. He ended up with a very nice game, 7 catches for 68 yards. I appreciated the fact that they continued to throw him the ball and, keep his confidence going after he had a fumble there. That was going to be tough for them. From a receiving standpoint, Ladd McConkey, 7 for 100 and a touchdown. Keelan Allen, 4 for 27. Trey Harris, 4 for 27. Will Dissly, 2 for 18. They spread it out real nicely, Kenyon, throwing the ball. But more than anything, a balanced attack today, and that's what we like to see.
You got to love that. You got to love Herbert's ability to get everybody involved in this offense. But going back to our guy Gadsden, as a young buck, it is crucial for you to bounce back, right? Everybody's looking. What does it look like when you get punched in the mouth and things aren't going your way? Mike Tyson has the famous quote, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
And so when you are a young guy and you've not been in this position at this level, how do you bounce back? How do you recover? Are you the same guy, or now are you timid? Now are you dropping passes? Now are you missing in protections? Now are you completely out of your game because you made a mistake? That was huge for that kid. And I was so happy to see that, because far too often you see guys go the complete opposite direction to where they go down in the dumps, and now the game's over for you, and now your confidence is shot. So I love Herbie going back to him. I love them putting him back in the game and relying on him, and he had a great game.
And not only that, but he was able to capitalize on that, because after he made that miscue, he went back and consistently made plays to where at the end, on the last drives in the fourth quarter, they were still going back to him and he was making plays. So that is absolutely massive for that kid and his confidence. And hey, first 50+ yard receiving game. I know Alex Ensdorf out there from Guilty as Charged put that out there. It is definitely not going to be the last. It seems like this could be the beginning of a very beautiful marriage between quarterback and tight end.
One of the things we didn't like to see, and this is not new to today, 2 for 7 in the red zone. What the heck is going on in the red zone? Is this play calling? Is this execution? Is it both? We'll start with KB. What do you think? What do the Chargers need to do better in the red? You can't give up that many red zone opportunities that turn into field goals against good teams.
You got to score touchdowns to win in this league. Against a bad Miami team, you can get away with kicking field goals and winning the game in the last few seconds. But the objective, when you get that, you have to make it count. That's the money zone. You have to make it count.
It should have been a blowout.
It should have. It should have.
To be honest.
But when you get into that zone and you allow that's how you keep teams alive, right? You keep confident. Okay, they kicked the field. We still got hope. We can come down. We can score. That's how you keep a team in the game. And when it comes to it's about execute. It's all of the above. It's execution. It's the play calling. So you got to figure out what's working for your offense in that space. What doesn't work? Where are our strengths? Where are our weaknesses? What are we good at in the regular play of field that we can implement in that short area? It's a lot harder, a heck of a lot harder to score in the red zone. But you got to figure it out. You got to tweak it and make adjustments, because you can't get to the red zone that many times and not put 7 on the board.
What I don't understand is why you're trusting Justin Herbert to get you all the way down to the red zone, and then all of a sudden you're going to start handing the ball off when you're in confined quarters where you should be using your best weapon. That's your quarterback. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's why in the second half, when they were able to get those 2 red zone touchdowns, they were kind of moving Justin Herbert around, or Justin was moving, extending the play, using his athleticism, and that turned into touchdowns. They need to do more of that, especially in the red zone. Stress out the defense, force them to have to defend Justin, get him on the run. He can throw accurately on the run. He has the arm to do it, and I think you're going to have more success. But yeah, they need to make adjustments. They need to continue to tinker and play around, because the red zone offense has not been good enough.
No.
All right. In the end, the Chargers pull it off on basically a walk-off field goal from Dicker, 33-35, 29-27, the final, as the Chargers win it. When we come back, we're going to get into the defense today a little bit more. There was some good stuff. There was some bad stuff, as per usual with this team. So we'll get into all of it right after the break. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. Kenyon Barner, 10 years in the league. 3 rings. David Droegemeire, half of the Locked On Chargers daily podcast, and I am Pete Fox. We will be right back. I got to do this first. Hold on. There we go. All right, today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by Mizzen and Main. You know the saying, look good, feel good. The problem is that most dress clothes only check one of those boxes. They look sharp, but feel stiff, not comfortable, hot, high maintenance. That's where Mizzen and Main comes in. Mizzen and Main makes classic menswear with performance fabrics, so it's effortless to look sharp and feel comfortable. They actually invented a performance fabric dress shirt over 10 years ago, and they perfected it ever since. They have, you can wear these Mizzen and Main clothes on the golf course, or you can wear them out to dinner, put a coat over a comfortable dress shirt, and away you go. Right now, Mizzen and Main offering our listeners 20% off your first purchase at mizzenandmain.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL20. Locked on NFL 20. Mizzen and Main is spelled M-I-Z-Z-E-N and Main, MAIN.com. Promo code Locked On NFL 20 for 20% off. And if you'd rather shop in person, you can find Mizzen and Main stores in select states. I always love that when I'm at a mall and, we read these ads all the time for these things and go to their website and like, oh, they have a store. Cool. And I always go in and look around. So, it's so strange these days, right? We buy everything online. When you see a store, you're like the old days, I can go in and put my hands on it. That's kind of cool. Today, the Chargers put their hands on the Dolphins a few too many times. 7 penalties for 45 yards. Hart had a couple of those with false starts, elevated from the practice squad. I'm sure he's going to be shaking his head and hearing about that on Tuesday.
Can we talk about the stat that they put up during the game? I've never seen them highlight a stat of a guy's penalties. They highlighted he had 22 false starts.
They crucified him, man.
I said, what are we doing?
Yeah. Hey, I know you've been out of the league for 2 years, but we had this one in the safe. We just been waiting to use this one. Ready? Here you go.
2 years. I think it's 4 years that since he's played. So
I think it's been a couple of years since he's been in the league. But I mean, the penalties, man. You know what the funniest part about that is, Pete? Is this is actually an improvement on the last few weeks because they had 10 plus penalties or 24 penalties across the last 2 games. So this was actually an improvement with 7.
Yeah. The other thing that they started the game with, which I was like, can we just save that for a little bit later, was Herbert is the most pressured quarterback in the league with 85 pressures. It's like, we know the line is bad. They are injured and banged up. In spite of having 3 of their normal guys, we've gotten some comments that the center needs to go. I'm like, he's healthy. We're not getting rid of healthy guys. So what are you going to do? Bench him for another guy who doesn't play a lot? The Chargers are scrambling right now to find offensive linemen. If he's healthy, he's going to be out there. But here's the thing I want to talk about. KB, what is going on? This was happening last week. It happened this week. What is going on?
Outside zone?
Yes, the edge protection. Each end around the outside, nobody there. I mean, what's the deal?
2 words, Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
You have to have somebody out there who can set, contain, and maintain the edge. And we just don't have that. That was something that I wanted to pay attention to in this game because it's been a struggle the last 2 weeks. So I took some notes, right? I was in my notebook. Outside zone run, touchdown. 49-yard run, outside zone, touchdown. 16-yard run to the outside. Another goal line touchdown to the outside, and then another 14-yard run to the outside. This is something that we have to get shored up. It's consistently showing its head. It's consistently an issue. It's consistently a problem. And when there was high hopes about Bud Dupree coming in, right? But this is not disrespect to him or anything like that, but there's a reason you have Khalil Mack in front of him. There's a reason why you have starters and then guys that come in, and kind of spare those guys for a little bit. We just don't have an outside edge presence that can contain and force things back inside, but it's killing us. It's killed us for the last 3 weeks now. Something that we got to get taken care of and something that we have to get figured out. Even if we start playing wide 9 techniques, something. You know what I'm saying? We got to mix some things up to kind of figure out how we can limit getting ate up on the ground the way that we're getting ate up to the outside.
Owe had a nice game, David.
Yes, he did, man, and he made his impact right away. Right away. Like, I'm pretty sure his first play from scrimmage, he was able to get a sack. So,
first play,
like, you want to talk about making a first impression? That's how you make a good first impression. I mean, honestly, like, with that trade, a sack, it's already been produced great value. And honestly, I like the fact that I saw him be able to be effective in run support as well. He was obviously limited snaps. He just got here. So, they really had to kind of put him through the crash course on what to do. And they did kind of reserve his snaps for getting after the quarterback, but he has fantastic length. And I think as he gets a little bit more integrated in this defense, he might be able to help a little bit with that edge setting as well. But he had a great game. He was effective, and he was also able to allow Tuli Tuipulotu to get more one-on-one opportunities where he was able to take advantage of as well. I mean, a pass rusher's best friend is another pass rusher getting after the quarterback as well.
Yeah.
Deion Henley led the way in tackles, 7 total, 3 solo. Troy Dye had a good game. Of course, KB's favorite, Tony Jefferson, with an interception on the second snap of the game.
Reliable.
St. Just had an interception. Derwin James, in the end, kind of a mixed review. 5 tackles, 1 solo, but missed a few. I listened to part of the game on the broadcast, and Matt Money Smith was like, Derwin James has kind of been a little loose today, but not terrible. He missed a couple tackles or was late there to get there. And when he's been as good as he has, and he's not always like that, our expectations are so high for him. It's like when Shohei Ohtani strikes out 4 or 5 times in a game, you're like, dude, come on, put the ball in play. So what did you think about his performance today, David, Derwin James?
The one thing I'll say about Derwin James's performance is he should have had 2 interceptions. Like, he had a ball go directly through his hands. He really, honestly, did everything right up until that point. He read the quarterback's eyes, jumped the route, and was in great position. All he had to do was make the catch, and he probably would have took that back to the house. Like, he would have been untouched walking into the end zone. But unfortunately, hey, when you take those chances, you live and die by those chances. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to make the play on this one, and it went for an explosive play. So Derwin James has been up and down, but I don't ever fault Derwin because they ask Derwin to do so many different things. And I think you have to appreciate that, and you can't exactly just look at the box score when you're watching Derwin James because he affects the game in so many different ways that may not show up immediately in the stat book.
Yeah. It's to your point about that interception. It's the old saying in basketball: if you reach, I teach. Sometimes you get taught. Today was that.
I thought for a second, I got to go back to a comment here, an all caps comment. I'm an all caps typer, so I can.
You like to yell through text?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I for whatever reason, as a guy that's read the news on the radio for a long time, I just type in all caps. It's just so much easier to read, right? So I don't type it to other people, just to myself. So I can, when I see it, I respond to it. But George says, I said, no way they're going to win after the Fish scored that touchdown in the final minute. I thought I'm turning the TV off, but a miracle happened, and the bad snap for the winning field goal gave me a heart attack. Yeah, that was a nice job there by the punter to get that snap. It wasn't terrible. It was just a little bit off. And then, of course, the announcer saying, Dicker is never.
Yeah, I was like, shut up. What are you doing, man? Like, you are trying to enact the announcer's curse here. Like, I wanted to reach through the TV and be like, shut up, man.
But I thought they had a shot, guys, that at the drive after the punt at the 5-minute mark was crucial for the Chargers. You're up 6. You got to bow your neck here and keep them out of the end zone. And first down, Hill over the middle to the 10-yard line. That was way too easy. And then a big tackle by Tarheeb Still. That was huge. And then on third down, wide open Waller in the corner of the end zone. What went on there, David?
Blown coverage. That's what went wrong there. Like, you absolutely have to know. And that's one of the things we talked about on my show for Keys for Success going into it on this Friday show, going into this game, is you have to know where Darren Waller is at all times in the red zone. At all times, he has to be doubled. I think is a guy you just can't allow to beat you because he has 3 touchdowns, 4 now, in the 3 games that he's played. He's been uber effective in that area because of his length and his speed. Like, it's a guy you just have to take away. And the Chargers let him get loose somehow. It's just like when the Chargers play Travis Kelce and you're like, how do they let this guy right here get so open? I don't understand it. It's the same thing with Darren Waller. You knew going into this game in the red zone, this was a guy you had to take away, and they let him absolutely just show up by himself.
They ran crossing routes, and I believe it was a lot. I think it was Molden that was on him. I'm not sure. I can't remember the exact guy, but when they showed the replay, it was like he tried to get in between his teammate and the opposite receiver and got turned around. That's a hard combination to stop in such a short area. There's not enough space to get around or get up under. If you go up under, you're beat over the top. If you go up over the top, you're beat underneath. So it's a credit to
tough spot.
It's a tough spot to be in. So Miami called the perfect play in the right spot, and it just so happens it just didn't work out. I don't know the exact what happened to the exact point, but it looked like he got caught up on a crossing route. I don't know. Again, it's Darren Waller. You got to know that there's no one else that they're trying to get the ball to in that spot.
Yeah, the crossing route was tough when you watch the replay. He ran through a lot of traffic, and I think there was something to be said for the fact that he didn't have a big game. He had 2 catches. So maybe they were like, he's not a factor, so they maybe let the coverage be a little bit loose. But I agree with you, David. It did seem like blown coverage. He was wide. There was nobody even close. I mean, 5-6 feet away.
Like, hey, I'm right here.
I'm over here. Yeah, I think I could have caught that one.
Yeah.
Kenyon, hey, check this out. After the break, we're going to talk about special teams, not the last segment, the second to last segment. Because there's
look at us.
There's some meat on the bone there. 29-27, the Chargers beat the Dolphins. Yeah, they only have 1 win, but hey, whatever. A win is a win is a win, and we'll take it any way we can get it. There was some positives there. Sean says, what a roller coaster. Yeah, I mean, it was a fun game. Tu Vong says heart attack football. Yeah, I mean, like as you said, David, it should have been a blowout, but it wasn't. I didn't think it was going to be. I was like, as I said, I was listening to the broadcast on the radio at the third quarter, and those guys were their energy was at like 3 out of 10. They were just like, oh, there's something happening here, maybe on that long 7-minute drive. So everyone's kind of feeling the same thing. We're feeling a little bit better now after a win. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. Today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Join the free Trade Masters program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for their free Trade Masters program and use the promo code SHNF. What is this? Okay, it's an abbreviation of Supply House NFL. So SHNFL5. SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. All right. Chargers gave up a soft touchdown in the final minutes. Waller wide open in the corner of the end zone. And then they get a kick and a more than sufficient return
to
the 40-yard line, and that's exactly what they needed at that point. Nyheim Hines got the job done. Kenyon, were you standing up or sitting down at that point? Were you like pumping your fist that guy gave them what they needed right at that time and channeling him?
Listen, almost got a noise complaint, okay? How loud I was hollering. You know how I feel about special teams and what it does. It gets my special team coach at Oregon used to say, it gets my piss hot, okay? It gets me up, it gets me going, gets my blood pumping. But no, that was as a returner, those are the moments that you hope for. Those are the moments that you thrive for. An opportunity to, one, not only put your team in a position to win, but then go down and have the team win off of your back. Because without that return, the game looks a hell of a lot different. Now you're calling different because you're starting further back. So shout out to Miller Hines for getting in there, stepping up, and making a huge play and putting his team in position for Ladd McConkey to go down there and go ahead, get the job done, and Dicker, the kicker, to come in and finish it off. But can we talk about how we're not even really giving Dicker, the kicker, the credit and the attention that he deserves for hitting again? I mean, it's a credit to his consistency, right? It's a credit to who he's been and what he is. We are all so sure of him that we're like, game-winning field goal, no big deal. Let's move on. Let's talk about something else. Yeah. So just huge. Special teams was huge in this game. There were some big hits. There were some guys. Delshon Phillips had a huge hit, and I don't know how to say his first
Justin
name.
Herbert.
Boy,
yeah.
Listen, I played with a guy by the name of Brandon Graham that people might know of, and Brandon Graham played the 3. And Brandon Graham used to come and try and break people's helmets. It's just certain guys you see on special teams you don't want to see as a returner. When you get to surveying that line, you're like, oh, there he is. That's not who I want on this team. So shout out to special teams, man, getting the job done, giving some excitement to the game.
I got to echo the sentiments on Dicker, the kicker, as well, because I've covered this team for the better part of 10 years now, and this is an absolute luxury that the Chargers and Chargers fans should appreciate, because once upon a time, they cycled through about 7 or 8 different kickers trying to find somebody to lock down that position, and it was painful. And you really realize how valuable a kicker is when he's able to step in these moments, ice water in his veins, absolutely no emotion, step up, make the kick, and nobody on the field or watching the game had any doubt that it was going anywhere but right through the uprights. And so I think that's the confidence that the most accurate kicker in NFL history, with anyone with 100 attempts, gives you. And so, yes, I appreciate that you brought that up, Kenyon, and we do need to tip our caps to Dicker, the kicker, for providing that confidence with his excellent play. But special teams, also Nyheim Hines, first game in a couple of years, and he was able to come back and make that type of impact when the game was on the line. That had to feel so good for him, especially after he muffed a couple of punts in preseason. For him to show up in this game in a critical moment and provide that return, that's what you do it for. That's what you play the game for, especially on special teams.
And then Dicker had a what was that one that was negated by a penalty, a 59-yarder?
Yeah,
59,
58-yard field goal that would have been good from almost 70. Like it was drilled right down the middle, no question about it. Like that was crazy.
Yeah.
The Chargers have they have their Justin Tucker.
Yeah.
Someone says it was good to see Disley and Tarheeb still back.
Yes.
They played well.
His blocking is invaluable. It is really invaluable.
The tight ends were a big part of this game. I think while they're trying to get their line healthy, they need to employ that 12 and 13 personnel technical or package rather more frequently, because it just gives him more time to find the 1 or 2 guys that could be open. But when you have fewer receivers, Johnston out today, you really were just looking at 3 guys if you want to put Keenan Allen in there. He was definitely looking at him a lot. 4 catches, 7 attempts, but it was really about Ladd McConkey and Arande Gadsden today with 7 catches each. So the extra help from the tight ends was definitely a big part of this for me. I just I don't know. I guess the question becomes, Kenyon, how much can you do that? Because if you do it too much, isn't the defense going to key on it and then double the receivers?
Well, that's fine if you can't. This is your job as offensive coordinator, right? You have to think ahead of the curve. If this is what you want to do, now you have to have plays that resemble the plays that you've already done, but now you're moving guys in different spots and doing something different, having guys running different routes. So you got to dress the pig up. Yeah, you got to add layers. Offensive coaches always say you got to dress the pig. You got to make it look different. You got to bring it out of different formations. You got to bring shifts and motions and things to give the defense to look at, things to get them distracted. So you can absolutely keep doing it. and you have a guy in Gadsden, right, who you can use as a receiver that has the ability to run the deep route, who has the ability to run the quick routes that Disley and those guys they can't run. So you can absolutely do some things with this and keep the defense on their heels a little bit. Now, again, once you get healthy, you don't got to worry about it. But until then, we got to do what we got to do. And right now,
a great example of that, Kenyon, is when they did that wide receiver or that tight end screen to Will Disley, and he picked up a first down with that. And I think that right there, like, yeah, they were using him to help block and help assist the tackles, and as they should. He's one of the best blocking tight ends in the National Football League. But every once in a while, they send him out on a little screen or a little pass play, and he's consistent. He's able to bring those in. So that means you have to respect his ability as a receiver, which also furthers that plan of action that they're trying to accomplish.
Here's more of a midweek conversation, but Marvin Romero says if you don't make trades this week, Colts are going to run for 300 yards. They are making some deals. They're trying. They're doing things. They are wheeling and dealing and trying to get.
Please come back, Khalil Mack. Please.
Please. The defense needs it as much as the offensive line. There's no doubt about it. But Owe in there is a help. And the guys that we have might need a little bit of a rest. Jorge the Old Bolt says that Derwin needs to rest. Kenyon, does he need to rest? Would he even allow them to rest him?
Listen, you can rest on your bye week and when the season's over. You don't get no rest. This ain't basketball. We don't get rest days. We don't get to come out and just watch.
Also they're getting paid. What are you talking about? This is their job.
Right. Yeah, we don't get to take days off. No, this don't happen in football. This ain't the NBA.
Also, this is Derwin James we're talking about. Like,
right?
Don't even insult him by approaching him with that concept unless he's hurt. There's no way on God's green earth that man in particular would ever willingly sit out a football game.
And he's healthy and he's healthy to play. But not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
Yeah. The how many times did they sack today? Tua
twice. They sacked him twice.
Yeah, he'd like to see a little bit more. I felt like they pressured him a lot. But again, what Tua was doing was what Herbert was doing earlier, getting rid of the ball quickly. That final drive, 8 of 8. That was a nice drive. I mean, very well executed to get them that touchdown that got them the lead in the final minute of the game. So they put the pressure on, but it wasn't quite what we're used to seeing from them. But yeah, it's funny. I'm so focused on this offensive line being banged up and what that, like the effects of that to this entire team, the I shouldn't say the inability to run, but the challenge that it brings to the run game, the challenge that it brings to Herbert to try to find an opening. He has to scramble more than he's probably he's capable of it, but I don't know that he likes doing it. He's definitely capable of it.
Well, he gets hit enough. I just think they want to limit the amount of times that he gets hit. Like the pass protection's leaky, so he's getting hit a lot in the pass game. So like I'm sure that they would love to, and there was an opportunity for him. I know there was one kind of read option where if he was able to tuck that, and man, there was nothing but grass in front of him on the left side early in this football game. But I just think that he gets hit enough, and they want to limit the amount of times they put him in danger.
Yeah, and not only that, we keep talking about the offensive line. We got to talk about the backs in protection as well, because there was quite a few plays on today where it happened twice with Kamani Vidal, where again, free releasing, you're never going to account for a guy, but that didn't seem there was a play action fake. You don't play action fake when you're free releasing as a back. And so the offensive line and the running back and the quarterback, we all got to get on the same page, because there's one thing to have a guy that you're hot off, right? As a quarterback, I have a route to take care of. I have a slant. I have a smoke route. I have a hitch. I have something that will account for that free runner, but also I'm not expecting to get hit on my backside free if my back is supposed to be in protection. So it's not all on the offensive line, right? The backs have to do their part. And there were times where in this game that leakage didn't come from the offensive line. It came from the back not being in position to make the block that he was supposed to make.
So when you look at what their performance looked like in the second half as compared to the first, was that coaching, or did they just kind of step up their game? Because they definitely played better, and Herbert had more time to find guys in the second half, and they moved the ball much easier. I mean, that third quarter was the best we've seen them play in a couple of weeks. So what do we attribute that to?
I think it's
just
both.
Getting the ball out faster.
That's my fault.
I'm sorry. Yeah, just getting the ball out faster, man. Like that's exactly what it is, because they were not allowing the Miami Dolphins pass rushers the strength of their defense to pin their ears back and get after Justin Herbert. They were getting the ball out quick, and it was very effective on, being able to, move the ball down the field and keep possession.
And we seen more 13 personnel in the second half. We seen 7-man protection. We seen max protection. So we seen, again, going back to what I said earlier about Greg Roman, his ability to adapt to what the game called for and what the offensive needed to get the job done.
This is an interesting comment. Stodekine. Guys, this was a total luck out win. We should have lost. I don't know that. They did what they needed to do, a clutch drive to set up a game-winning field goal. Where's the luck in that? That was a
I mean, how is it luck when Justin Herbert is literally fighting off a defensive player and pushing him to the ground, and then hitting a wide open Lad McConkey who was able to shake a defender in the open space and take it like 40 yards? That's all effort. Like that's not luck. Like that's preparation and opportunity. And that's exactly what happened. Justin Herbert being an elite quarterback, and the elite quarterbacks, they show up in the big moments, and he did that for his football team.
Listen, luck, buck, or truck, they don't matter. The objective of the game is to win. That's what you're out here to do. We cannot complain. We can't complain about how a win comes, especially in the position that we're in. You take wins by any means necessary. Good, bad, ugly, beautiful, and everything in between. I don't care. I just want, at the end of the day, when that clock hits 0, I want to be on the right side of that win-loss column, and today we did that. So whether it's luck or not, again, and it's not, we've seen Herbert stand strong in the pocket. We've seen him shake off what should be tacklers and make throws. So it's not luck. This is things that this guy has displayed over and over and over again, getting the ball to Lad McConkey and him doing what he did after the catch. That's not luck. That's what Lad has consistently shown since he's been in a Charger uniform. So let's really lock in and look at what we're seeing, and not just want to be pessimistic about something that we should be optimistic about.
Reminds me of the great Eddie Murphy. He said, if you're starving and somebody gives you a cracker, you're gonna be like, that is one good cracker. What is that? A Ritz? That was great. That cracker was amazing. That is what it's like, right? They won that game. They needed to, and they won it when they needed to in a clutch moment. I think the point, moreover, David, is what you said. Should have been a blowout. The way this game was going in the third quarter, they were up 10, moving the ball comfortably. Now the first half wasn't so much that way. Late in the first, early in the second, the Dolphins were moving the ball with ease, and I was like, here we go again. But in the third quarter, they turned things around. They got in control of this game, and everyone was like, all right, it's over. But then the Dolphins came back, and I was cleaning up dog poop, and I was like, what happened? They're up 6. So I I didn't catch any of that because I was cleaning up dog poop, but fortunately the Chargers were not. They were taking care of business and winning the football game 29-27. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about Herbert's performance. We talked about it a lot. We'll get into Kamani Vidal's running the ball as well, because the offense in the end did win this game for the Chargers, and they're now 4-2, still in first place in the AFC West. Pete Fox, David Droegemeire, and Kenyon Barner, the Locked On Chargers Squad Show. We come on right after the game and break it down for you for an hour. Don't forget, during the week, Monday through Friday, check out Daniel and David with the Locked On Daily Chargers podcast right here on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. All right, today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by Mazda's Moving the Game Forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, they move culture, they keep moving the game forward. Today, there was a few guys on this Charger team that you could hang that mantle on. To me, I think it was Kamani Vidal, because the Chargers needed to run the ball. He scored a touchdown. He carried the ball 18 times for 124 yards. And he kept this Charger team moving the ball. And honorable mention, Justin Herbert also did a fantastic job of moving the game forward for the Chargers here, especially in the end when he needed to. He moved them down the field, got them into field goal range, a chip shot for Dicker, the kicker. So when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like that, there's more to every highlight. There's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, 29-27. Herbert, I don't think I've thrown out the number. 29 of 38, 264, 2 touchdowns, no intercept, only sacked one time. And you got to give a lot of the credit, as we just talked about, to Irby on that for getting out of jams. Speaking of getting out of jams, KB, what happened to Oregon?
Hey.
What happened there?
Wait a minute.
Catching strays over here. Wouldn't even talk about the Ducks. It was like, hey, by the way,
what just happened? What just happened?
They were not getting out of a jam. I was like, hey,
who needs enemies when I have a friend like you?
I don't know about but USC roughed up Michigan yesterday.
It's Michigan. Listen, we could take a brief segue, right? We got outplayed, we got outcoached, we got out physical yesterday. That's what happened. Okay.
All right. Good. I mean, not good. I'm not against Oregon. I don't have any problem. I was just surprised to see it. Everyone was talking about Indiana winning big, a huge win, and then I heard it was against Oregon. I was like, what? Kenyon has got to be pretty upset about that. Not feeling good about the way the Ducks showed out in that one. But Kamani Vidal running the ball hard today, 18 carries, 124 yards. The long of 38 came early on. As we've talked about, we have a bit of one of the guys that is a writer for the Bolt Beat, David. I don't know if you were a part of this or not. We go back a few weeks on Kamani Vidal becoming, a guy that they're going to need more after the running back injuries. And one of the guys that writes for the Bolt Beat likened Vidal to Austin Eckler, and KB did not like that comparison. So today, and then of course I got blamed for being an idiot that I compared him to Kamani Vidal or to Austin Eckler, but I was just relaying the story. Vidal today, though, he's probably, KB, wouldn't you say it's fair that he's a more physical runner than Austin Eckler, and that's where you separated them, or no? What was the?
No, I can't say that because Eck was a physical runner. Eck was a guy. He just made it look easy.
I think the biggest difference is the touchdowns, bro. I mean, Austin Eckler was a touchdown machine, and he did it repeatedly. And also, Austin Eckler in his heyday was one of the best receiving backs in the NFL. So I just, no disrespect to Kamani Vidal, but they're not on the same level. That's just what it is.
They're different players. Again, you just said it. There's levels in this thing, and Austin Eckler at his peak, was a bad mother. Shut your mouth, okay?
Yeah.
Well, the thing I like, that 38-yard run early on, it was not, that's not something we see from him. To me, he's a more physical guy that's going to pound out, 3 yards, 4 yards in a cloud of ground up tires. And today, he had big runs, not a ton of them, but that 38-yard run was kind of just a stress relieving run. Like, okay, he is capable of it. And we're going to need more of that as they try to get, back to healthy, because it's not going to get any better anytime soon.
No doubt. And this next week will be a bigger challenge for Kamani at the running back spot. Why? Because now the Colts have somebody that they can key in on. Now I have a guy in practice this week that will wear Kamani Vidal's number, and I will mimic the plays that he runs. I will mimic his style. So next week becomes more of a tell. This week was great, taking nothing away from it. He did exactly what he needed to do. Now next week for the offensive line and Kamani Vidal, now we got to take it up another level and figure out a way that we can kind of replicate. We may not get the same results, but we need to get something close to this to keep this offense looking like what it looked in the second half today.
And then you look at what they did on the other side, Miami's running game with Devon. What is it?
A-Chain.
A-Chain. There you go. 16 carries, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. Seemingly a little bit easier of a day for him to put up those kind of numbers, because the Chargers didn't make life tough for him, especially when he was getting outside around the edge. So he had a fantastic day running the ball for them. And without him, this game is more of a blowout. But I come back to the defensive aspect for the Chargers when you see him doing what he did and what happened last week as well. That's got to be a big time focal point, David, this week for the Chargers to have more coverage outside the tackle box, because it's just been too easy the last couple of weeks for the opponents.
Well, the thing is the Chargers defense, they're trying to put a roof over the coverage and prevent the big plays, but they allowed 2 40-plus yard plays, and it just that can't happen. So if the whole concept of your defense is to remove those plays, and you're kind of conceding the run a little bit by being a little bit lighter in the middle and playing more coverage, more zone, that can't happen. You can't have those mixture of things. You can't be bad against the run and allow explosive plays. Like, you have to be at least good at one of those things. And in this game, too many of those explosive plays and the inability to secure the edge on either side really was a huge test. Now, obviously, Devon Achane is extremely fast. Like, that guy is one of the fastest running backs that you're going to play all season. Obviously, it's not going to get any easier when you're going up against Jonathan Taylor next week, who is one of the best all-around backs in the NFL. So, yeah, it's a little scary. The Chargers giving up 130, 40-plus in back-to-back games. That is going to be something they have to get corrected, because the Colts will stay committed to it. They'll run it over and over and over. They don't care because they have the offensive line and they have the running back to do it.
I got a question. We talked about this when the season first began. We talked about Joey Bosa and his absence and what that could look like for this defensive line going forward. And I remember the fans like, oh, we don't need him. He's always hurt. He's this, he's that. Do we kind of miss Joey? do we kind of miss that?
Hindsight's always 20/20. I think, and for me, is I've watched and covered every single snap of Joey Bosa's career as a Charger, and that dude has been hurt so many times in his career, and so I just think that guy was the epitome of potential that was never fully realized, in my opinion. I feel like the guy on the field, when he was able to be on the field, he was very impactful against the run and as a pass rusher. But he got hurt so much that you just could not be confident that he was going to be out there consistently. And yeah, of course, he's out there balling out for the Buffalo Bills. But like I said earlier, the guy that they're missing is Khalil Mack. I mean, say what you want about the ability to get after the passer. He still has incredible power, but he uses that power to be able to set the edge. Like, he is very physical and run support. He is a complete defensive end outside linebacker, and the Chargers have desperately missed that presence in their defense. Not only him, but also Denzel Perryman as well. Like, they bring that physicality, that physical identity that the Chargers want to play with that's been missing from this Chargers defense.
So about that, the injury week 2 against the Raiders. So, the IR is a minimum of 4 weeks. So do we think there's any shot next week? Probably not. It's going to be at least a couple more, right, at this point?
Well, they said that, like, the reports are saying that he could be ready to go in just the minimum 4 weeks. So we'll have to see how he practices, and like, that's going to really determine how he's going to be able to, show up. And I know with Denzel Perryman, he had a couple of full participation practices to end this week. So I think that trends towards a positive note for him playing next week. And we're just going to have to monitor Khalil Mack. But also, Khalil Mack's a veteran. Like, just like Denzel, they've been in this league a very, very long time. The coaches, the trust is there. They're going to be able to communicate how they're feeling and when they'll be ready to go.
Joe Alt should be back, right?
What'd you say, Pete?
Joe Alt?
It's, again, that high ankle. That's something I don't really play with. That's one of the worst injuries in football you can have. But want to get to Khalil Mack for a sec. I watched Ray Lewis tear his tricep and be braced up, and obviously it was a Super Bowl game, but it's possible. And this was before medicine and technology is what it is now. So if Khalil Mack is anything close to being ready, and he feels like he can go out there and use that arm effectively, be able to punch and shot guys with that power, I think we'll see him very soon.
Yeah. Of course, Quentin Johnston was out today, and obviously he was missed. I think, anytime he's not on the field, at least the way he's playing this year, that is a strike against the Chargers. So hopefully he will be back. I don't think that was anything major. remind me again what he's dealing with. It's a
hamstring injury,
right?
Yeah, hamstring injury. It was a game time decision as well. So like he did warm up before the game, but I guess they just didn't want to push it.
Another injury
he doesn't want to talk about any injuries. It's like, let's not even bring it up.
I don't play with injuries. I don't play.
Probably had a hamstring injury a time or two in his career, I'm sure.
And they are nothing because they're unexpected. You think you're fine, and then all of a sudden you're not. So I'm hoping it's like a grade 1. Nothing more. We need nothing more than a grade 1 where a week's time will do you just fine.
And then Mekhi Becton's another one. That's although he's not listed as questionable, he didn't play today, right?
He did.
Did
he played he just had a club on his hand. He played the whole game. Actually played pretty well. He was one of the solid, consistent parts of this offensive line when obviously he had a bunch of players that were not really playing with him very much around him. So he was that guy that was kind of consistent today, and they really needed that kind of staying force, that quiet, positive force in the offensive line.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how I missed that. I spent so much time focusing on the O-line. I was looking for guys that are making mistakes. When they're playing well, you just kind of don't see it. You kind of you don't hear about it. You don't notice it. When there's a problem, that's what you see and that's what you notice. So let's wrap this up, KB, before people start calling me an idiot now for missing Mekhi Becton's day on the field. It is the Locked On Chargers Squad Show, a 29-27 win today to get ready for next week against the Colts, the Indianapolis Colts. And of course, even the most religious Charger fans think that it's going to be a challenge, but hey, that's why they play the games. Anything can happen.
Any given Sunday.
Exactly. Wouldn't be the least bit surprised if the Chargers came out with a different sense of urgency and played that game a lot tighter than most people think they will. That's a 105 start on CBS at SoFi, and we'll be here to break it down when it is over. That is all for today's Locked On Chargers Squad Show. For Kenyon Barner, 10 years in the league, and David Droegemeire, half of the Locked On Daily Chargers podcast. I am Pete Fox. We will catch you guys during the week for the weekly Locked On Chargers Squad Show, either Tuesday or Thursday. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a good one. See y'all later.